Outer Orange.
What happens when you take an archetype and then smash it with another archetype to make a whole new deck? That's what we're going to be experimenting with today. It is called the Lupina Melody deck. You guys know I've done a Lupina deck before. I have it in the past. I have a video, but it's not like this one. This one is a Lupina and Melody deck all in one, and we're going to be discussing it here today on the channel. This is OuterOrange here. Welcome back, and let's get to it. There's Lupina. Here's a deck box. That's right, because, you know, deck boxes are a thing, so I'm using the Sanctuary Guard deck box that you get if you get the whole like little boosters extra set that you get that gives you like Sanctuary Guard, a couple other things. That is currently what this deck box is. And then also for the sleeves we have Chocho. These are just really nice Vanguard sleeves that I got a while back and I finally decided to use them, and I'm currently using them on Lupina. But let's go ahead and talk about our girl Lupina. Definitely a card I didn't like at first. I'm starting to grow on me in the Twinkle Melody set. So here she is, 4 copies of our Happiness Heart Lupina. She has 2 skills. They're Vanguard skills. Her first skill says to Soul Blast 2 cards, look at top 7 cards of your deck and pick 1 normal unit of them and call it to the board. If you do call that unit, you put a force marker on it. And you know, that may sound a little weird. Well, what are you going to do with these force markers? Well, there is a secondary skill, and that says when it attacks, counterblast 1, and you may restand all of your rear guards on circles with force markers on them. So essentially what's going on here, if you have a force marker and you have another force marker, and it's kind of like this, and you have Lupina in the center, if you swing with those first, and then you can restand them as though both have force markers on them. So it's actually a pretty interesting style. You can enable 5 attacks in one go, and that is where the Melody engine comes in with this, because while you can run other cards in here, they're only gonna be 10k, 20k on force marker attacks, but what if we put Melody in here? Melody on its own gets power, so adding on to those restanding numbers, we'll have restanding Melody units. 4 copies of Caro. This is Colorful Pastel Caro. This card has a Vanguard skill, and we're mainly here for the Vanguard skill. That says this unit gets boost and continuous during the battle. The boosting gets 5k. This is shared with all Melody units, so meaning if you have another Melody unit on the board, they also get boost and they also get 5k, which does stack, so you can have multiples of these. She does have a Vanguard skill. She said it says when placed, you can Soul Blast 2 cards and search for a copy of herself. However, you want to avoid being in that situation, as that means you're probably going to die, as this deck is a little glass cannon-y, so you want to make sure you don't hit that, but it's okay until we have searchers and stuff forward to make sure we get to Lupina and not get to this. Lupina is always going to be our main target here. Last but not least, in this little Melody train, I do run 3 copies of Colorful Pastoral Sonata. She does have 2 skills as well. Her Vanguard skill says during your turn, this unit gets 5k, and it's shared with all your Melody units, so pretty much these stack off each other. If she's boosting, she'll get also Caro's skill on top of her own skill, and Caro similarly, when she's boosting, she'll get Caro's skill. Caro will get her own skill on top of Sonata's skill. So if you have something like this, they actually pretty much in a way bounce off each other. This will give both of them an extra 10k, and this will give an extra 5k to this unit, making it a total of a 26, 36, 40, 41k swinging column just on its own. If you were to restand this, that is another yet very beefy turn coming right at you. So in case you're wondering why I'm running 3, the deck's kind of tight, but also there's only so many spaces. You have 5 rear guards, and it comes to a point where you will have kind of like a rough time figuring what you want to call out. Usually, as long as you just see 1 or 2 of these, you're kind of in a good spot. And then we also have the grade 2 Sonata that'll be coming in that also gives 5k. So honestly, running these at 3 isn't too bad, as you don't want to clutter your hand with too many grade 3s, as it'll just kind of enable you to die faster. So going into our grade 2s, we have some Lupina support here. This is Unique Allure Dogny. So she has some interesting stuff. She kind of helps fuel the engine a little bit. It says during your turn, if you have a force marker on this unit, the original crit of your Lupina becomes 2. You won't really be using this too often, as your chances are you'll be probably calling over it anyway, but the point of it is actually its secondary skill, which says when placed, you soul charge, and if your Vanguard is Lupina or herself, then you soul charge again. So this enables you getting that 2 soul, as you do soul blast quite a lot with this skill. So you want to make sure you have the soul. If you have 2 turns, you need 4 soul, and in case you happen to miss that soul early on, this card kind of helps you replenish that. Run 4 copies of from Colorful Pastoral Sonata. This is the exact same version as this card. Essentially, it's the same thing. The only difference is you have to attack Vanguard for her skill to go off, and it is continuous. So if you attack Vanguard, she gets 5k, and any Melody unit will follow with this, meaning if you have Sonatas on the board, they will also get that 5k as long as they are attacking stacking a Vanguard. So this does stack, so you can have one in the back as well, and it will boost if you have Caro on the board, so you can actually boost and have a Caro on the front board and still get the skill of the extra 5k going. So just a very awesome card. This is really good early aggression too, as a rear guard the skill activates, as a Vanguard the skill activates. So even on grade 2 you can push your opponent pretty far and having 15k columns, 15k swings, and then if you top deck a Caro or something else, you can have an even more aggressive push for a really nice rush turn. Speaking of, to make that rush turn happen, we have 4 copies of Choco Love Heart lisolette. Lisolette, very big staple in Bermuda overall. This card says, when placed, look at the top card of your deck and you may call it or put into soul. So you have 2 ways to approach this card with. If you don't have enough soul, you can use this as a soul charge card, or if you do have enough soul, you can use it as a unit card. As whatever is your top card, you can just call it out. It can be a trigger, it can be whatever it is. Preferably you want to see your melody units, but in case you don't, you can put it into soul, or it can be a grade 2, or it could just be a rush turn. Also keep in mind this card can be used as a grade 1, so you can, if you're going second and you have this card in hand and you do have another grade 2 in your hand, don't G-assist yourself. You can actually just call this out and instantly start have a board going and push your opponent as far as you can. Very aggressive card, and in a melody deck, this card is one of the best cards to run. So that is our grade 2s. Going into our grade runs, I run 4 copies of the final support of Lupina, which is Freshers, Innovate, Rosalinda, and she has 2 skills. She says during your turn, if this unit's circle has a force marker, your Lupina gets an extra 10k, so it makes your Lupina numbers a little bit higher, because out of everything that your stuff does, like out of the entire engine, the one thing that attacks the lowest is probably going to be your Vanguard. So this kind of enables that extra push. If you can possibly get this to hop off, it is actually really nice. I actually prefer this over the crit sometimes, because just the numbers just make it higher. If you have a 23k swing Vanguard before a boost, that's actually really good, as your opponent really think about how they want to guard your Lupina. So if you can get that off, that's cool. If you can't, that's fine too. She does have a secondary skill, and also very important to run her for that exact reason. It says when placed Soul Blast, look at top 5 cards of your deck for the grade 2 or the grade 3. So you're looking for Lupina or Dogny. So pretty much what happens is you can get your soul charging unit out of her, or you can get your Lupina out of her, which is really nice, and it's top 5 and it's free. You place it, you get the skill, you get it, and you're good to go. You're smooth sailing. 4 copies of Prudent Blue Meep. I believe I said that right, and if I didn't, I'm sorry. This is just another way to search for melody units. I'm not crazy about this card, but it is nice as it gives you access to your units, and she is a good right target as well, along with this right target. It says if you and your opponent's Vanguard is the same grade, you may soul blast for the cost of Counterblast, so you can start this early. It says when placed, Counterblast, look at 7 cards at the top of your deck, reveal up to 2 cards with melody and different card names from among them, and put 1 to hand and 1 into soul. So you can put up to 1 into hand, 1 to soul. You can choose. Usually in this case, in this situation, you just put it into your hand. But if you need the soul, I mean, sure, go for it. It is a soul blast, so it actually kind of like fixes your soul as well if you do hit both. The chance of you hitting both is not likely, as there aren't that many melody units to really search through, but it is the top 7, so you may hit it, and they do have to be in different card names, so just something to keep in mind. Run 2 copies of Cuddle Connect Vanessa. Might be asking why. That's kind of your slot, your flex slot. This is my flex slot. I always enjoy throwing this card in. She has a skill that does a couple things. It says at the end of that battle that attacked or boosted, put a grade 3 or greater from your drop zone to the bottom of your deck and put this card to soul and you draw a card. So essentially what you do is you can recycle your melody units in case, they get sniped, and then you can use her to put herself into soul, which is really good for Lupina, and then you draw a card. So essentially you can just kind of cycle through your engine a little bit faster. Like I said, this is a flex slot. The only thing I like about her is she has absolutely no power. It's just straight a soul engine and a draw engine. There are times when you will have no soul, as you do go through your soul quite a bit, and you may not see this card fast enough. So like this card and this card and this card, these 3 cards right here kind of help replenish that in case you do miss your Dogny. Alright, so triggers are pretty standard around the 4 PG draw sentinels, as you need draw to get to your pieces faster. You go through your deck a good bit, but you need to go through it as quick as possible, kill your opponent as fast as possible, because if you don't, you die. You don't have many saving graces here. These are all like engine cards. Then we have 4 heals, just, because healing is OP. And then I have 8 crits. I don't know why I picked every possible crit that has like an art on it. I have like 4 different versions of this crit here, but you want to run 8 crit. Crits are just really nice. You can, if you really want to flex it out a little bit, you can run one of these as a 30k sentinel crits. Actually, I even recommend it, as honestly the deck dies anyway if you don't kill your opponent fast enough. So if you want to just stabilize an extra crit or put on your restanding rear guards, by all means. If you want to switch some of these out for 30k sentinels, I won't judge you. I'm sticking sticking to the draws, but I can see going two and two, like a 2 of the crit and 2 of the sentinel might actually not be a bad idea in this kind of deck. But yeah, and that's pretty much our main thing. Of course, you want to have a starter, and then you also want to have a quick shield with your starter to kind of, you know, help with that going second type of situation. And now we can talk about the force markers. If you want to go force 1 or force 2 with this deck, let's go and do that. Okay, so your options are force 1 and force 2. Honestly, I think in both there are situations where both work out very well. How do I put this? The only thing that sucks about force 2 is that in case you happen to get 4 force markers, your force 2 in the back row won't be doing too much, and putting it on Van is just painful as your Vanguard's not going to restand, it's specifically rear guards. What you can pretty much do is going force 1, you can have like 4 of these, and all the units on all 4 of those will restand. And if you even get to a 5th one somehow, your booster will restand too, but that won't really matter. Whereas if you go into a force 2, like if we pretend these are all force 2s, yeah, your back row will be restanding, but it won't be restanding with any additional power. But like I said, it's kind of up to you. I think the situation is kind of where it matters. If you can rush your opponent pretty well, push them to 3-4 damage, I would recommend going force 2, as that will kind of help you just close out the game a little bit faster. But if you're having a tough time and you feel like you just want to just poke your opponent, then you know you can always go force 1. Both are really well. Just keep in mind your comms, keep in mind of your opponent's damage. Your opponent's damage will probably make a deciding factor of going force 1 or force 2. And now let's talk about some ideal and fun plays and like little like creativity things that you can do. So say you rode and you're going second, you know, you can use the skill to look at your stuff. But now, so if you have a situation where your hand has 2 grade 2s, you can go into a lisolette play. You can just instantly go into lisolette, look at top card. If it's something really good like this, like Caro, you can instantly just place it down somewhere, you know, and kind of, or even do something like this, and you can instantly start pushing your opponent. And if you happen to have a grade 1, you can actually put her back and put a grade 1 here, so that way she stays safe, but she's still boosting, and you can actually go into like a really aggressive turn here. And this is very brutal because this is 21 to your opponent's like 8k, and that kind of sucks because that's really hard to guard. So on Lupina's turn, you get a force marker, and you can choose to put it wherever you want. Recommendations is preferably like, it'd be like right here, and then you can use her skill, Soul Blast 2 units out, skill to look at top 7. So out of all of these, your choice will probably be Sonata, as it's, you know, the best choice here. And you want to make sure this is moved down, by the way. But anyway, you can put Sonata here. And wherever you place that card, by the way, which is why don't make that mistake, move it down. Wherever you place that card, you get a force marker. So now she has a force marker on her. And then you can swap these, you know, do something like this. And if you really want to, you know, push a little bit extra, you can actually, you know, go into this if you need to Soul Blast. Oh, I need to give myself some damage. You can actually use the skill too to kind of help your deck thin yourself a little bit more. Wow, we actually have a lot of really good choices here. So you can actually, if you want to go like full aggression here, you can pick up like this Sonata, and you can pick up like this Caro here. I mean, not this, you can pick up double Sonata. And then if you want to be a little bit more defensive, you kind of choose which one you prefer. Call over this, right? Like we don't want this here anymore, because I personally would put this into Soul and put this to your hand and then just call it over this. And that way you have now your back row units just got an extra buff, and she hits this extra buff too as these stack off each other. So now you have a pretty solid situation here going. And you know, you can just go in, you can start on this side. This side's a little bit smaller, it would be 20. And then you can start on this side. You don't even have to boost. This will be 23, 33 on its own. And then when you attack with your Lupina, you can use the skill to then restamp both of these. And now you have a full board going, and then you have your drive check, whatever it is. It's a crit, cool. Put some power, you can put all effects here, and then you can go here on this side. So this will actually be 23, 33, 43, 48 to your Vanguard, which is, you know, pretty high. So they have to deal with that. And then this will actually be even higher. This will be 26, 36, 46, 56, 61 to your Vanguard, which is also just a real, to their Vanguard, which is also a very lethal column. And then again, as I mentioned, you can also go into Force 2 with these kind of, with this kind of same condition. The only thing that sucks here is that this column will actually be very small when you first swing with it, so you might want to just keep it boosted if you want, but you know, it's up to you. But this number won't be that high. But this number, on the other hand, on its own will still be 30, will be 23. So it's 23 swinging for 2 damage. And then when you use the skill to restand it, when you go full speed, this will still be really high. This side will actually be 26, 36, 46. So they're still pretty, this column will be a little bit more brutal. But yeah, like I said, you can kind of think it through to see like which you prefer. In case instead of Lisolette, another really good choice is obviously going Dogny. Dogny's skill says that she gains a crit, so now she's swinging with a crit. And And then also in case you get another force marker at any given point, like say you have another force marker on this girl, then this girl gives another 10k power here. So now you're gonna have a double beefy thing. She gets a crit and she gets 10k off of this. These have to be on force markers for this to activate, but it's actually not terrible. If you don't have a Sanat, if you don't have any other melody units, this is probably the best next grade 2 to have, as she literally makes this a pressure column now. And that's pretty much it for my little Lupina profile. If you guys like this deck profile, hope you enjoyed the video, all that fun stuff. If you have any questions or comments or anything of that you want to see, that you liked or saw, or if you've seen this profile before, like talk about it, you know, what's your favorite Bermuda deck? You can also leave that in the comments below. And also, I just want to give a quick shout out to my Discord. Y'all have been amazing. And if you guys don't know or haven't been a part of my Discord, I highly recommend you join the Discord, because then you get stuff like this. Ready?
Oh yeah, it'll kill me harder.
Yep, you heard it here, and you may be wondering, what in the world is that? Well, I guess you have to be a part of the Discord to get the full lore of that one and anything else. Thank you, Ty Sensei, for that, because it's absolutely hilarious. And then, like I said, join my Discord, hit that subscribe button. We're about to hit that 1K. And FYI, if you are subbed or followed on my Twitter, I will be doing some more and extra and interesting stuff. We're about to have a 1K special, and you could be a part of that potentially if you follow and subscribe. So please, peace out, das vidanya, and see you guys next time. Bye!